Hello. Today we'll be talking about the Jesse Wells song, The News. This one will be a mix of my opinions about the song and lots of facts about kind of the people and specific networks that he mentions in this song. Um, First of all, large thing about this one is the whole running theme of them being dinosaurs. The dinosaurs are on, and ancient lizard babes with a bug in their ear. Kind of that reoccurring theme. And it's just kind of pressing home the idea that the news is largely watched and run by older people that perpetually um, spread fear into the older generations, and just it's just a propaganda piece to make people feel unsettled in their lives, and it's also largely a dying medium. That kind of goes with it being run and watched by older people. And that's that, a lot of young people don't actually watch traditional news sources. They'll watch independent journalists, they'll watch um, whether it's for the better, content creators as well for their news. They'd rather watch a relatively normal person talk about a situation that they've researched, such as me. You're kind of doing that right now. And, oh God. Don't take anything I say too seriously then. But, like, um, it's kind of the idea that younger people don't watch traditional news sources because they lie a lot, and younger people know that, or they are very hyperbolic, and the point of the news is becoming less and less about actually keeping you informed on society and more about making you afraid of society. And so most young people recognize that, whereas lots of older people, baby boomers, Gen Xers, so on and so forth, they have watched the news all their lives, and it's what they're used to. It's where they get their news. And we all have our different opinions about what is trustworthy news and what is a trustworthy news source. Everyone has a different idea of what that is. And for lots of older people, their trusted news source is traditional news. Um, and so, one reoccurring theme throughout this song, which I personally very much so agree with, is that it doesn't really matter what political bias the specific network you're watching has. They're all bullshit. They're all fucking. Their entire points is to keep you afraid of something, so you feel dependent on them to um, report on what's happening in society. They want you to only rely on them or only rely on similar news outlets with similar sort of political biases to keep you in this cycle of hating something or someone, being afraid of that something or someone, and then watching this news to feel like you are in touch with reality when you are farther from it. And so, whether it's a right wing news source that's going to blame immigrants for all your life's problems, and now you're going to fear immigrants taking your livelihoods. Or if it's a left news source, they're going to, for example, they're going to make you afraid of the rise of fascism, which, in my opinion, you should be concerned about, but they're not going to report it in a way that's actually helpful, is kind of my point. Is that they're going to take these issues that people have, some of which are going to be somewhat founded and some of which are going to be completely bullshit, and they're going to take whatever these are and they're going to either dramatize it in a way that is unproductive, or they're going to report on it in a way that doesn't actually help solve these problems, which is not really the point of the news. The news is not meant to fix these problems, but the original purpose that most people think of the news is to keep you informed so you can make avid change. It's not meant to keep you in a perpetual cycle of fear, but that is exactly what it is meant to do. That is what it is designed to do. It is a propaganda machine for either side. That is the point of it at the anymore. If it ever was something different, I don't know. But for right now, the news is just a propaganda mill to keep you, also to keep you very polarized, is the other point of it. is so that you don't hear the other side's opinion. You only watch Fox News, or you only watch CNN, you only watch CBS, so on and so forth, or similar ones to it. And so you create this echo chamber of ideas, opinions, and fears, and you don't hear anybody else across the aisle. And I think that's really dangerous. I think that it others people. And personally, I think that political labels are dangerous to begin with because people are nuanced. People do not fit into boxes and labels. But as a society, we like to try and label people a certain way when that really is just not how people work. Like I said, people are nuanced. And I think that if you fully agree with every single thing that one political party says and fully disagree with everything one political party says, I think that you need to reevaluate your own kind of your own morale, your own ethics, and all that sort of thing. Because I think that everyone has something good to say, and I think that everyone has something bad to say. And we should do our best to hear out everyone. Of course, there's some things that are not very hear outable, but I'm just saying within a reasonable level, we should all try and listen to each other a little bit. And the news does not do that, does not encourage actual active discussion whatsoever. It encourages you to hate the other person voting opposite to you. And that's just dumb. All you're going to do with that is when you're never going to change anyone's opinion. That never has changed someone's opinion, is hating them. You change people's opinions by being respectful. And even then, it's very difficult to change people's opinions. But if you're going to, the only way is to be respectful. No one changes their opinion because they were insulted. That doesn't work. It's unproductive. And it also makes you a hateful person as well, which isn't that exactly what you're trying to avoid. No one wants to feel like they're a hateful person. No one thinks they're a hateful person. But when you will not hear out someone else, that's what you're doing. Anyways, so along with this song as well, he mentioned several news anchors and stuff, and I just wanted to talk about some of the specific ones he mentions. So Sean Hannity is one that he mentions, is a co-host for a television program on Fox News. He is famous for his point-counterpoint style interviews and debates. And lately he has been discussing the fall of Democrats and how they continue to fund ICE, which is quite a legitimate thing. This is kind of what I mean. Obviously, I don't think Sean Hannity is a good person whatsoever, but this is what I mean by hearing people out on their opinions and all that sort of thing, is that is a very legitimate criticism to make of the Democratic Party, which is that on one end they'll be like, we are for the immigrant, we are for the working man, etc. But, we're going to still fund ICE to put you all in cages. So that is a very, very, very fair argument to make. So I just wanted to point one of those out specifically. Although he often just flat out insults his opponents, so that's not very helpful. And then he mentions No Spin News, which is run by Bill O'Reilly, which praises the military action in Iran as, quote, proving America's strength. So, he's a nice dude. He claims Zoran Mondani is a communist and anti-Semite. So, very educated as well. Bret Baier is the chief political host for Fox News. He was coined the most influential news anchor in America in 2025, and he is most noted for his roles in reporting on elections and encouraging the notion of rampant voter fraud. I love these people. And then mentions Ann Coulter as well. And I went to Ann Coulter's official website. This actually made me lose brain cells because I do not engage with traditional news, as I'm sure you probably guessed from what I was saying earlier. I do not look at traditional news sources ever, because whenever I do, it just slowly evaporates my brain, And but for this video, I sacrificed myself and I went on Fox News. I went on Ann Coulter's website. Oh my God, it was horrifying. It physically hurt. I felt myself losing. because part of what I think is that you also should not get angry at these people, because that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to rile you up, either in support or against them. They're rage baiters. They want a reaction from you, and I felt myself giving way to their rage bait, and it just, oh, I hated it. And Coulter's website has one of those, when you first go to it, has quotes from her, and it's cycling through like different quotes from her, and the marquee. And the first one when I went to her website was, quote, "I might be in favor of national health care if it required all Democrats to get their heads examined." So she is a very kind and a compassionate debater from the sounds of it. um, she's very confusing though, because when you actually read a lot of her articles and stuff, she like flip-flops between being pro and against Trump, because like it seems like she was pro-Trump before the Epstein files and then it made her change her mind. But like it's so weird because she'll like flip-flop between it. It's the strangest thing if you actually read, and like a lot of her journalism reads like just the raging notes of someone who needs to go to the psych ward for a couple of weeks. Like, and I know I'm not trying to be mean, but like if you actually read them, they either sound AI generated or like someone needs to help her. And like in the same article, she will call Epstein's victims concubines, but then state how disgusting these people are for doing so. It's like, what? It's just it was mind numbing to read. And then like in another article, she'll praise Martin Luther King as, you know, the troubadour that he was, and then call ICE protesters virtue signalers. It's like, make up your mind. That was just kind of what I felt like saying to her, you know, as I was reading that. It's just like, oh my god, at least be consistent in your like bullshit. It's like, I don't know how someone can genuinely read her and like actually form an opinion. But anyways, that kind of wraps up my points about the news. It's an interesting world out there, you know? If you engage with traditional news, I'm sorry. That's all I want to say to that. I know that there's less radical, there's less absurd is honestly the word I'd call a lot of these news outlets out there. There's a lot more reasonable ones. I don't know. If you're gonna use a news source, I'd maybe go with like Reuters. They seem pretty center, and I think that's the best way to get your news. Is either to if you're, in my opinion, if you're going to engage in traditional news, engage in both left-wing news sources and right-wing news sources, so you get kind of a bit of both, or engage in center ones. Or you can also, there's tons of websites out there that have articles from all of the political biases, you know, all of the um, sort of opinions that you can get, all put in one place. And they will say what their political leaning is kind of in that website. They'll be like, this article is more left leaning, this article is more right leaning, this article seems very center, maybe center left, you know, so on and so forth. I think that is probably the best way to get your media. Never should you only get your media from from only one, sorry. Because that creates echo chambers, and that is not helpful for anybody. Never find yourself in an echo chamber as much as possible. I know our algorithms are designed to keep you in that echo chamber. You know, the algorithm shows what you like, and if you have strong opinions about something, you are going to like posts that go with that strong opinion. So you're only going to see videos that agree with you, or at least far more videos that agree with you than ones that don't. And so you can get a skewed perception of reality because of those things. And the other thing is, maybe just talk to real people. That's the other thing. Talk to people in your communities. Everywhere is going to be different. Leave your city is the other thing. Go travel if you can afford to. I know travel expenses are ridiculous. I can't afford to go to most, you know, really anywhere. Just looking for, Look at how expensive a plane is. I can't afford that. But if you can, try leaving your city, try leaving your country, even if you can. Get different ideas from people. All of this is very helpful for your mental health. And also to be accurate about things. You can, if you get the facts from multiple different places and they're conflicting, you can kind of pick and choose what you think is most reasonable. I know it's not the best situation, but sadly, that is the world we live in, of a lot of misinformation and a lot of hyperbole. So take everything with a grain of salt and do your own research if you truly care about that thing. Don't believe headlines either, because so many times you'll see a headline and then the article will be vastly different than what that headline implies. Alright, that has been my TED Talk about media literacy as well. So I hope you have a good day. Bye-bye.